The brain is an amazing part of our biology. But how? The brain is one of the most essential and most important part of our mind, our mindset, our thinking skills and even our body functions. Scientists have been trying to discover and know a lot about what is brain because this works all the time. It keeps on functioning all the time. Night or day, any day, it keeps functioning and helping us to think and put on our thinking caps. So, hello everyone, I am Vishnu Siddhartha. Welcome to #VSK. Well, after a long pause in my channel, I am back with acquiring knowledge in my brain about the brain. So, to make you understand and give some insights from this video, I am going to explain to you some of the most interesting aspects of the brain through top 10 interesting facts. Fact number 1. Your brain actually moves. Don't get me wrong, your brain doesn't move like this or like that. It moves in a specific order to make us have more advantage. But how is this ever possible? The brain doesn't move from its place, it's always in the head. Moving here refers to change in direction, change in shape, and change in the way it functions. It does function the same by giving us signals and thinking, but when we go into details, it changes its direction every 6 weeks from the birth till the death. And when it changes the direction, the connections which are connected to the brain changes with the body, which makes us to think, remember things much better, and even release a lot of cells. More cells, more memory cards. More memory cards, more advantage we can take of the brain. So, having motion in the brain is much more important in functioning of the same. Fact number 2. It's always been in flux. For understanding how the brain is always in motion and how it's connected with the nerves, that term is called flux. But before we understand what's a flux, we need to know another kind of bigger term, which is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the new fancy science word that everyone is using. Scientists tell that neuroplasticity is the term that we'll use for how the brain functions. Don't get me wrong, because some people doubt that neuroplasticity sometimes means the brain is made of plastic. Even if the word plastic is there in neuroplasticity, it just means that they are connected to each other. This term is in connection with the nerves. Each nerve is connected in flux. So the brain is always connected with the nerves, which is all over the body. So you're never out of the mind. And sometimes if you act foolish, some people may tell, hey, are you out of your mind? But prove them wrong that you are not out of your mind because your brain is always in flux. Fact number 3. There are cells called glia. Well, this may be a new term for many of you. Glia is nothing but, in Greek, it means glue. Well, I'm sure as students and adults, we all have used for generations to pass. We have used Fevicol and glue in our project works to stick the pictures to the wall or the paper. But can I tell you that there is glue? There are types of glue even in the brain? Yes, they are. But before we know, we need to know that scientists thought that there was nothing special about glia cells. But then, shows what they know. It tells us that they even help reorganize and keep more emphasis, and it even changes the way of the oxygens. And when this happens, the brain is connected like a glue. This keeps the nerves in flux. Referring to the fact 2, it keeps in flux, and that is made by this most powerful, faster than and more quick and stickier than the Fevicol we use. Glia cells are keeping all the nerves in our body close to each other by the brain. Fact number 4. Your brain adapts to damage. Oh, what if there's there's an earthquake in the earth, in your place, what happens? You try to move around, shuffle all the places, run for your life. But that is a big place and the earthquake will be massive. But what if we take the example of this small, very very small brain inside our body? If you or any means try to damage or successfully, unsuccessfully damage the brain, some portion of the brain will be damaged. But the functions of that part which are damaged and completely destroyed, those parts will come to the undamaged parts. Just like if there is a flood in one of the countries, then the people are asked to go to some safe place. Just like this, the functions of the damaged part will be moved automatically by the brain to some unsafe places, will be eliminated to take it to the safe places, so that the functions of the brain will not impact the body in any means. But security of the brain is very much important. Never we should try to play with our brain and the parts of our head because it's too delicate to handle with. Fact number 5. The brain is connected in many interesting ways. Well, you may think, when you are running, still you think about the homework that you left behind at home. Even when you are playing, you keep a surrounding if any suspicious characters are there. While you are playing a game, you see that if any advantages are there to win. Just like this, everything is interconnected. While you are eating, digestion and the respiration are connected. Just like this, in the brain, something is connected in a more interesting way. It's proven by the scientists that people who lost eyesight or have a blurred vision have weight loss. Well, this is something new. Eyes, weight, how does that ever match? People who don't have eyesight have weight loss. Some people say that this happens because they can't see the food. But if they can't see the food, they can't become thin because they have to eat it. But some theories say that this happens because the overall field, the 5 aspects of the food, will not be intaked by the blurred or the no vision people. This is one of the things where all the nerves are connected in flex through glia, and these all are connected in one interesting way, which the scientists are trying to still think, which are connected to the brain cells where all operations happen, the main headquarters of the body. Fact number 6. Well, before I tell the fact, I just remembered one incident. While I was small, when I had to go for the first time to my friend's house, I didn't know the route to him. So I went with my father. He dropped me there. I learned the route how to go from my home to his home. Well, that's counted as a learning too. In these scenarios, one puzzle is added into your mind. Puzzle of information. One place to another place is a puzzle of information. Just like that, many routes you know, to your sister's house, to your father's house, anywhere, everything will be stored into your mind as a puzzle maybe. So these informations are collected to make new cells. This is fact number 6. It is proved that people who know more have more cells generated and the brain is more stronger. That's why they say learn more to increase the brain. But it is even proven, a very interesting fact indeed, that the taxi drivers or the car drivers have more bigger hippocampus, which is a very very small but efficient part of the brain, is bigger than those of the bus drivers. Wait, taxi drivers, bus drivers, what they do is transport us from one place to another. Why does their brain vary? This is because bus drivers have one route every day, from area 1 to area 2, that's it. Every day they go the same way. So they only added one puzzle into their mind, going and coming. But that's not the case of the taxi drivers. Whenever you climb, whenever you send a request, they learn a new route. Each puzzle is added every time they take a route. So this happens, and this is because of each puzzle getting added, each memory card is given, each cell is created. So, the more the hippocampus of the taxi drivers help them to analyze the surrounding, analyze the roads, have unwavering focus, and even have the ability to have the awareness among themselves. So, the more we learn, the more cells are produced into our brain which store the energy as somewhat we may understand like puzzles. Fact number 7. Sleeps help you remember things. Well, they say that you have to have restless studies. You need to study more, nights together, days together to remember things for the examinations. But prove them wrong. That's not true. It is known as a very common term that we use in studying. And that is when we learn many things, the brain automatically functions itself. So, the more you know the knowledge about a familiar thing, the brain starts to forget it. Unfortunately. So, even in teachers, they only teach you once. They will not stress on a topic for too long if you already understood it. Because once you know the topic, if you still put the pressure on it, the brain will consider this as unmeaningful or not even understandable language, and it just throws out the information. So sleeping and taking rest at regular intervals is very important to store that information and give some rest to the brain. So get the 3 Z's into your brain all the time you get tired, and don't stress on anything, because you may forget sleeping, you may forget everything. Point number 8. Your cells change when you learn something new. As I have told before, let's take this as a puzzle as I took before. Now, when each information is taken in, a cell is produced, which we refer as a puzzle. So just imagine, every time we read something, every time you understand a word, enormous, every time you understand a hobby, every time you learn something new, read a book, or know about a person like me, you are adding different cells, different information into your brain. So learning more things will increase your brain strength and produce this highly important myelin sheath, which is a kind of a fluid and substance in our mind that will help us a lot. So these types of informations will create more and more impressions, more and more cells, and it will help you remember things for long. So the more you learn, the cells will increase, the more memory you will get. And even if one comedy book or one comic that you read, you will learn a lot that many cells are produced, that those cells are not only used for comics, but it can be even used for some important things like a project work, a homework, or a speech. Point number 9. Well, sometimes, if there are no homeworks, they feel boring. It will be a very boring day. And not only for you, you are getting bored because your mind gets bored. But why does the mind get bored? The brain that we all know will get bored if we stress on something. So, without stressing on anything, we need to go forward, as I said in the previous facts. So, when we don't stress anything, the mind can remember it easily, and if you stress on anything that you're familiar with, the mind will consider it as not important and it will discard it into the trash can. But this has even more side effects. It's not only that you forget the particular subject, but even the future. The future subject, the future important things you may forget due to no attention, daydreaming, and even you will have apathy, that you don't want to do things and you do it with a force from other means. This happens when you do something in an over limit or when you are already familiar with stress. Well, final point, the 10th point. Use it or lose it. The brain keeps growing and keeps increasing its value and its use for us. And as humans, as the owners of our brain, we need to take the full advantage of it. Well, it's a quick fact, a sub-fact into this fact, that only 3 or less than 3% of our brain can be used. But many people don't even use that 3% 100%. That's the issue. So using it completely can help us. But I know that many people may doubt how to use the complete use of a brain, but that's very easy. One comic a day, one puzzle a day, one word puzzle a day, or learning one new hobby, origami, painting, or going into something else, a more detailed and manufacturing thing than this one. Than origami, if you have interest, learn some new subject that your ma'am has not taught you and make your hobbies every day. The more the hobbies, the more you are using your own brain and taking more utilization of it. But this brain may be temporary as our lives, so we should not lose it and take full advantage of it. Here are two of my favorite games that I play and as best recommend to you, Wordle and Nerdle, the two most trending games that maybe you may know. Just check it out on Google, play it a daily game, and you will know how it can improve not only your vocabulary but how you analyze and make your thinking more integrated. So this is all for today. I wish you took some insights from this video and knew about your own part, the brilliant inner Albert Einstein of yourself, the brain. Use it to the full extent, enjoy the full extent of this power of learning from the brain. I wish you enjoyed the video. We'll meet in the next video. Until then, signing off, #VSK.